You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Louie After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Louie After Show.
Yes. Hello, welcome back. Welcome first-timers. Welcome everybody in between. We are AFTERBUZZ TV doing season 4, the new season, finally. 19 months of hiatus, and we're back. Joining me here in the studio for the opening salvo of the new season, Shannon Rodgers, Kylie Hodges, and Carrie Long.
Hi.
I'm Mario Hernandez. Hello.
Hi, Mario.
Hello.
Hi, Mario. Thank you.
Wow, Louie. I mean, where has he been?
Writing awesome episodes.
He's been doing a lot.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. He's been. He won an Emmy. Had an incredible. As he should. He should win all of them, and chances are, I predict he'll be winning a few more for this season.
Yes.
Let's see. He went on tour, of course, and he did the Oh My God special on HBO. Did anybody see him when he was here?
You know, I saw him randomly, not during that tour, but he dropped in at Meltdown at Nerd Melt one night.
Nice.
And everyone went nuts.
Little $8 show. I don't know if many people know that. And yeah, he just dropped in, and we got like a good 15-minute set from him. It was awesome.
great.
He told a story about how he just disliked George W. Bush, and then all of a sudden was like right next to his barricade and just flipped out like as if it was like a Jonas Brother or something. He was like, girls, that's the president. It's really adorable.
Yeah, I got like the tweet that he was playing the Comedy Store like that night. $20 tickets. I actually happened to be in the neighborhood. I drove over.
Nice.
I like texted all my friends. I was like, listen, I'm buying 10 tickets. Somebody's coming.
You're a good friend.
Well, I mean, I knew it would be important to a lot of people, and sure enough, yeah. I mean, I found the 10 friends, and we had a blast. And most of that stuff is what ended up in the special. So
That's
it was,
amazing.
Yeah, it was really really nice. He hosted SNL, of course, recently, and then was in 2 pretty big, I mean, well-noted top movies of the year. He was in Blue Jasmine, of course. And, American Hustle.
American Hustle. I loved his character in American Hustle.
Wasn't it great? It was him,
loved
but like
What a poor sound.
just a couple degrees off of Louie. And I love that.
Yeah.
It really showed his range, you know, and that he's like a serious actor along with being himself as a comedian, and through his show, you know, it's mostly him portraying himself, but yeah, those 2 movies, he really like brought it out.
Yeah, I think he doesn't. Most. I think even sitcom, if we could even call this a sitcom, which it barely is, have, you know, the guys don't get credit, or the women don't get credit because they're basically playing versions of themselves. But in his case, he gets to write his own stuff in his own crazy scenario. So that's always really fun. So season 4, we're going to do both of the first episodes, and this is how the rest of the season is going to break down. Every Monday night, there's going to be 2 shows back to back, so that's nice. About 7 weeks of that. The first episode, back, which, you know, I presume to mean he's back, you know, in business, but also, you know, his back, which gave out at the end of the show. So what did you all think of the of just that great opening with the garbage men?
Dying. I would have loved doing one of them. How great is that,
man.
jumping on?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. You're just banging it. That's what trash cans sound like, apparently.
Well, that's what it sounds like when you're sleeping.
Yeah, that's how I feel every
Loved it.
Monday morning when I hear the garbage truck pull up outside my apartment.
Right.
They just do a little concert for
Yeah,
you.
I can feel it.
I live right next door to a post office, so I very much feel how that is. Like, I hear the trucks, and they're so incredibly loud. They just throw like the boxes on, and it doesn't. I'm like, it's like 4:35 a.m. Okay, but yeah. So I felt that scene a lot. I was like, yes.
When I first moved to LA from New York, I thought I was slick because we got an apartment in the back of the building, and I thought like, oh, great, because in New York, you know, it's the street where you want to be away from because that's where the trash. I didn't realize LA had alleys.
Yeah.
And I lived. This was in Palms on the west side, and so we had a bunch of apartment complexes, each one of them having their own garbage truck. system. So we got it, like Monday through Thursday because of the different buildings.
wow.
We just rumble through the alley, which just became like the Canyon of Echoes. So that's, yeah, that scene is
I love it.
near
I
and
love
dear.
Trash Day.
Do you?
I do. I love
Why?
it because I'm a dumpster diver.
Are you really?
I will dig. Hey, I have an outfit I wear. Like it comes around like Tuesday night. I heard my neighbors taking their trash
Yeah.
out, and they're rich people, and I'm not. I just live rich people adjacent. So I like run outside, and I'm like, "What y'all throwing out?" And then I look, and sometimes I score a sweet
you
table.
do. You do.
Oh,
I've definitely gotten some good stuff from. One morning I was going to move my car for street cleaning, and there was the structure of a Papasan chair. Like that's like
a
free
diamond.
on. I'm like,
It's a
great.
diamond.
Oh, I'm glad I woke up to move my car.
That's
Doing
like
this.
curb diving, though.
I
Are
get-
you
yeah, I
literally
guess.
dump?
I prefer
Because that's
treasure
real
trolling.
gross.
Well,
Okay,
just don't
treasure
get it-
trolling.
Yeah, you can't get anything with stuffing in it because true story. I gave my
Yes,
roommate
bed bugs.
scabies one time, right? Because I dug an ergonomically correct-looking chair out of the trash, and it was a bad. I
no.
should have left it in the trash. It's in the trash for a reason. So
Oh no.
yeah, leave it for the trash guys to show up
That's
the
good
next
to
day,
know.
bang it
I
around.
probably would have done
Kylie's
the
getting
same
itchy
thing.
just
Yeah,
hearing these.
I know. I don't
gonna
have
burn
scabies.
these clothes
Yeah.
after this.
That's a fun medical bill.
It'll be great. All these confessions are coming out. Well,
Sorry,
you know what
I
I
digress.
do when I, So that was just a great little opening, and also I thought very stand-up comedy where you just kind of you get this idea, and then you just kind of riff on it, and you just blow it
out of
out,
proportion,
and
yeah.
then
Milked it.
you they come busting in through the window, start jumping on him, jumping on his bed, throwing around.
Gonna get up now.
Yeah, and you say, and he just, he doesn't even respond. He just kind of gets out and starts his day. Then he starts his day, and he runs into Tony, I guess, the super, who has a joke for him.
Always. Everybody wants to tell comedians a joke. People always are like, hey, Carrie, I got a joke for you. And you want to be polite and be like, oh, please tell it to me because I'm never going to use it. But
Right.
like he does. And then
It's like wanting to relate on them on their to them on their level. Like
Yeah.
if you know a doctor and then they find out you're a doctor and they're like, you know what? I've had this rash. Can you just take a look really
Just
quick?
take a peek. Just a
I
peek.
feel like that encompasses many industries, and that's
Yeah.
a very true situation that would happen right there.
Yeah, similar, I guess, to the Seinfeld when he was dating the masseuse. Remember that episode
Yes.
where he keeps kind of insinuating and throwing himself in front of her. So yeah, I guess whatever your job is, people are going to want free stuff,
Yep.
including your time and free jokes. And then of course the line where he tells Louie, you ruined it by
I loved that.
the irony of actually telling the
I love
actual joke, and he's like, you ruin it. Why you got to ruin everything? And so it's just
People don't like being wrong.
no.
A lot of pride
A lot of
that
pride.
dude had.
Well, especially because he was so certain that what his
Yeah.
thing was. That
Oh,
was
he
like-
couldn't back down.
Yeah.
No.
It's Louis' fault.
My dad has this habit where he tells you the joke, and then he kind of explains the punchline right after, and you're like, no, I got it
Nope,
the first.
got it.
It's clean. Like you're good. Like it's,
Walk away now.
You landed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High five.
No, yeah,
Take
it's
away.
fine.
Yeah. Go.
Let's see. Why you got to clutter it up? He says. And then of course, he goes to have coffee with Todd Barry. Just real quick, I just
love
like
Todd
these
Barry.
little small vignettes of varying lengths. I thought it was a nice way to start the show. The second episode, of course, is a lot more plotty and has kind of a story. But this one is just kind of like a day in the life and,
Yeah.
a little mini episode.
Reintroducing
and
you
then-
to
Yeah, warming you
the
back up to
flow.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Todd Barry, of course, who's actually right now on Louis C.K.'s website because he just released an album of crowd work. He did an entire tour
Of just crowd work?
Of just crowd work. And then he did a special where it was just like live and he recorded the crowd work he did on one particular night. And that's the whole show.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's talent.
And then I'm not sure if I don't recall if he had already set up his website and his pay model the last time we did a show, which was a while ago.
I don't know.
But I know that's a pretty revolutionary thing. He set up his website where you would just get his special directly from Louis C.K. And in doing so, no middleman, money goes right to the artist. And if I'm
And it
not
made
mistaken,
it affordable for everybody.
and he made like $1 million. He got like it was like he got 200,000 downloads at $5 a pop.
Wow.
No Amazon, no middleman, no iTunes, no nothing. So
That's
it's
the way to do it.
yeah, I mean, movies are starting to release now on their own websites and their own platforms. So that's a cool new system. The gatekeepers are getting knocked down. Coffee with Todd Barry, who tells him your kids suck.
Because that's what you always kind of want to say to people. It's always like your friends and family kids who you're kind of like, oh no, they're great. But in that moment, you're kind of inspired to, like, I want to run out, and I'm not saying any of my friends' children's I do not prefer. However, there's that moment where you're like, your kid sucks. In a nice way. I love how he's like, I want to rip up little photos of him. Like, just
he really rubs it in, doesn't he?
That's what I think of them.
And with the hiatus, his kids are huge
They're
now.
so old.
Oh, man.
They're grown women.
middle school now?
It's crazy. They are really like, you know, and the older one is doing homework with glasses, and she looks very sophisticated, and she's like doing a report or something. It's not like finger painting or something like that. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's writing to
They
AIDS.
grew up on me. You know what I mean?
Aww.
Yeah, it's nice that they've been the same kids the whole time. Ursula Parker plays the younger Jane, and Hadley Delaney plays Lily. They are just, I mean, they're just so great and so
they
so
work
perfect.
so well with him.
And just relaxed.
Like,
there's no
it's
acting
so
that's
real.
evident. Yeah.
When he says the babysitter, and they're like, oh, no.
Yeah, they know who that is.
I reacted the same way when I saw the babysitter.
I know, right?
Oh, God.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
He's charming.
What'd you think of the little, I mean, this was literally only like a little 45-second scene with the backpack where she didn't want to carry the backpack.
I don't want to take your burden
Take your
away.
burden,
Take your burden
That's
away.
great.
That reminded me of another scene. I can't remember what episode or what season it was, but his daughter wanted a piece of mango. He was cutting up a piece of mango, and she's like, Daddy, give it to me. And he's like, no, I can't just give you something just because you want it. You need to work for it. And she was like 3.
Right.
It's like Louie's always trying to, like, you know, negotiate and give these, like, worldly lessons to these little girls who just don't, they're not grasping onto that yet. And he explains the lessons to them, and they were like, whatever, Dad. And I like how the oldest daughter just picked up the backpack for her. Like, fine, I'll do it. I just want you to shut up.
Everyone just shut up.
Yeah.
This is too much. And, you know, he's been making, you know, all of the viral things that have popped up in the last year or so are like his appearances on Conan and Jay Leno. And each one of those times, there's always this, like, you know, 2 or 3 minute bit that he goes off on. This idea that, you know, life is suffering. Life is misery. And the sooner you get, they did he was ABC's Person of the Week with Diane Sawyer, and they went out to get, you know, pizza just this past week. And there's a little, he said something along the lines of, not everybody's dreams are going to come true. And the sooner you get comfortable with that, you know, once you know that and accept that, and you still keep going, if the thought of that doesn't stop you, you're literally unstoppable. So it's just kind of like,
I like that.
Yeah, right? And so it doesn't have to be, you know, happy-go-lucky, you know, life is perfect, but it's just like, life is going to suck, especially if you live, you know, in New York, especially if you, you know, your life didn't turn out as exactly as you wanted, you know, you're divorced and you're, you know, whatever, health problems or whatever, but that's okay, that's life. And he often talks about, he's got this great bit that I think he did on Leno, where he says, you know, everybody's always on their phones, everybody's in their car, and he hates it.
Like the kid walking into him with the
right, which I thought that was a reference to.
Yeah, that happens. I see that kid all the time.
Just
zoned in
it. Yeah. Where was I the other day? Same thing, where the parent had to get the kid to look up from his iPad. They were literally like walking along like cobblestone steps, and the parent literally was like, "Pay attention," because the kid was buried. It's like, oh yeah, right. I need to watch where I'm walking and not zone out. Let's see what else. The homework assignment.
Dear AIDS.
I'm not laughing
Cut
at
it
AIDS.
out.
I'm just laughing. Like the assignments today, like when, like back, I don't know, what's she in that? Like 6th grade, 7th grade?
Probably.
She's writing and wearing glasses. She's clearly smart.
I
don't remember writing letters to AIDS. Like I remember being like homework's very different now. Like the books they read are very different. So I love that he's changing that up too, because that's not what we had.
I loved how she just didn't have a sense of humor about it either. And he was trying to make it
serious,
light.
Dad.
And she's like, Dad, this is serious. And he's like, Dear AIDS, you know, in a silly voice. I think he said cut it out.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, it's these, you know, kind of, I don't know, hippy-dippy kind of assignments, especially, you know, it's because I think these girls go to public school. So it's not like this is like a private school kind of like we're doing an AIDS or it's just, it's, you know, sometimes maybe the teachers even don't know what to went to a sign. They're just like, just give him, let's have him write a letter to AIDS. That's it.
It's like tax season. We're going to try out taxes today.
That's right. I brought my forms, kids.
Yes.
Let's all take a crack at it.
You can have this W-9.
Do that. The broccoli and pasta. What are we having? Broccoli and pasta.
Just leave me alone. Just get out of here.
Get away from me.
What I love about that, though, is like, that's real life. Like, that was my mother when I was being a little asshole at 8 years old. Just like, get out of my kitchen. You're going to eat it or you're going to be hungry.
Right, and you had to eat it or be hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom only made one dinner. If you don't like it, you're going to be hungry.
I actually also like that he's making broccoli and he's cutting it and making it the proper way. I feel like, you know, I don't know what it's like to be a man growing up, but I'm sure most of his diet consisted of more fast food and...
We get pulled aside at 6 years old and told how to cut broccoli.
Oh, okay.
Is that what happens as a dad?
As he's getting older and he's like trying to eat healthy and eat healthy with his girls too, and that was kind of like a small way to...
It's cute.
Right, which she doesn't appreciate, of course.
Yeah.
You know, he's being a good dad. His constant thing is, I'm a good dad, I'm a good dad, I'm a good dad, and literally nobody else in that universe cares. His friend is like, who cares? You're no one cares. He says, no one cares about dads. Dads don't matter. You know, and the girls are just like, we just want to do our own thing.
Right.
Let us do what we want to do. So it's this. People are constantly fighting him, even though he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Someday they will love you, Louie. Like now, right? I'm like, I'm in my 30s. And now I really appreciate my dad, you know. But back then I was like, whatever, old man.
Well, you talk about the changes for me
circle.
since my last show. I have a child now. I have one of these at home.
And it breathes.
It breathes every day, which has been the central challenge. I mean, it's
You're
fine.
alive.
And I'm alive, and she's alive, and we're fine. But it is this kind of just completely different switch to just have everything be really intense. And then of course for him, he's divorced, and the kids and the custody, like that's a thing where it's like you have this pressure to be the best thing, and frankly, I mean, that's perfect for comedy, because you don't see that usually. Like you see the bad dad, like the Homer Simpson, he's clearly not trying to, or the Modern Family, it's just these are dads who are knuckleheads,
right?
And here's a dad doing the right thing, and nobody wants him to do the right thing.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, it's completely inverted. Same thing, with the kind of professionals in the life. I mean, I guess less so the garbage men, but even the
whole world.
The whole world, but the doctor, of course. In previous episodes, the psychiatrist is completely inappropriate. Police officers, city workers,
right. People you aspire to be, and then you see behind, you're like, they are worse than me, which is kind of like a nice thing to see, like the end of last season, the whole Letterman thing, and then you get to see around it, and then I don't know, it inspires me. The worse I see people above me are, the more I'm inspired.
You say I can do that.
Less expectations.
I can be that bad.
I can have low expectations and meet them. You can be bad, right? There you go. Life complete. Check.
Yeah, I see. It's an illusion that you have to elevate yourself.
Sure.
This is the moral
Try
of
less,
Louie.
kids.
It's
Try less.
try less, and you won't be disappointed. Because life is short if you're a child who died.
Oh.
That was again, just really that quintessential Louis
I do
CK.
have those days where I'm like, I'm going to sleep at 4 p.m. and I just need this day to be over.
Society be damned.
Yeah.
Judgment.
I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm just going to figure my life out tomorrow. Today, this 24 hours is done for me.
We're calling it.
Yeah.
We're calling it. Yeah. Then the poker table, round table, which is now it's slowly becoming a staple, right? That's kind of a recurring bit in a lot of the shows. They're apparently based on the real life poker nights at William Stevenson's place. So this one had Sarah Silverman, Jim Norton, Rick Crom, and Nick DiPaolo, who had a great episode the first season with Louie, and they both ended up in the hospital. Those these scenes are actually one of the few, if not the only one, I think, that are somewhat improvised. They get a lot of they just kind of let them riff, and the camera stays on each one, and you really do get that sense. You do get that kind of fly on the wall. Almost like the Quentin Tarantino, rotating around the table, which is actually a Martin Scorsese thing. But just great stuff where, we imagine these really foul-mouthed comedians to be sitting around being even more foul-mouthed, really just not even caring.
Yeah. And Sarah Silverman holds her own in that crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
She always does.
She does.
I just read an article about her. It was, okay, I'm gonna like misquote it, but I think it was like 8 things to do as a grown-up, as a grown woman, and it had some very insightful stuff. I think it's in this month's issue of Glamour magazine. If you want to check
I'll see
it
it
out.
right now.
If you wanna
I'll
see-
go. I'll punch it up on my phone. 5 things. Do you remember any of
Is
them?
one of
8
them to get
things?
a
Yeah.
dildo?
No, one of them was to get a dildo.
That's number 9. Writing
vibrator.
it in.
A lot of them were like, don't be too hard on yourself and don't talk shit to yourself, because she said something about like, she would see herself in the mirror and think like all these negative thoughts, but then if she looked at herself and was like, if that were a stranger, I'd be like, she's so strong. Like, she's really beautiful, you know? So she said, treat yourself better than how you treat strangers, I guess, or how you see strangers.
That's good stuff.
It's actually not a bad, you know, you're
Sarah
so
Silverman wrote that?
self-critical. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a real
Girl.
it was like a real article.
That's some real talk.
Yeah.
She's very I saw her do stand-up at UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade.
Oh, I was
Comedy
probably
Theater,
there.
right, here in LA. And she was, I met her backstage and I was tongue-tied, which I'm never tongue-tied, but like she opened the door and there she was, and I was like, hi. And she was so kind, and she like alludes, is that right? She gives off the persona that she's very confident, you know, so it's funny that she writes an article like that. Goes back to the whole, you
You just never
reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People always come across as like, I'm on top of my game, and really they're just in the fetal position when you're not around. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that article up.
Yeah. It's really good.
Things to do. Sarah Silverman is, and these are all, and once again, this idea of comedians kind of weathering the storm in their private lives and being able. I think when they're doing these kind of round tables, I think it's kind of a way. It's like Cheers for them. You know, it's commiserating, it's supporting each other because they all go through this grind. That is not, it's not the worst job in the world, but it's a very difficult job. It's very awful. Carrie, you're a stand-up as well?
I am. It is awful. It's not really always funny. Like there's days where I'll spend at least an average of an hour for 1 minute of a joke, and I end up, this is so embarrassing, I end up crying because I'm sitting at the computer like, come on,
no, I feel
come
you.
on, make it funny, you can do it, Long, and I'm just like screaming, and then you have like just a total breakdown, and then you're like, oh, I got it. You know? You have that too, or
You get through your frustration and like something in the subconscious just is like, oh, that's it. That's what you needed.
but it's after hours of just pure self-torture. But I guess that you have to go through that makes you thick-skinned, and I don't know.
Well, and it's not just a struggle with yourself, but I mean, going back to the confidence thing, like to be a comic, you have to be confident on stage, especially when you tell jokes that would upset people, like
Risk,
maybe
yeah.
the dead child one.
Right.
There would be people that would heckle or yell back at you,
Right.
and you have to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
Because the minute you start to look weak, the crowd will just tear
they'll
you down.
eat you
Yeah.
So
alive.
it's a brutal job for being
Very
a
glamorous.
jokester.
Well, and also, similar to the kids, you work on it, you craft it, and then you get someone who's like drunk, you get a heckler, you get someone who doesn't just really care. Maybe they're laughing at, the pee-pee poo-poo stuff, but they're not, getting maybe your deeper jokes or your whatever, and you're sitting there and you feel so frustrated because you're like, I worked really hard on this, and nobody cares.
Nobody
Same
cares.
thing. They're just there to have a good time, to laugh, to you're one of 7 comedians. They're wasted by this point because maybe you
Yes.
came in later in the night, so now they're hammered. This is their one night out. They're talking, they're whispering, they're texting.
They're texting and walking into other people.
Yeah,
in the middle of the set. That would be great. In the
Knock
middle
your
of the
front teeth
set.
out. Yep.
Yeah.
The one time I got heckled, a guy yelled out, and this is what he goes, "Tell a dick joke," and I was like, "Really?"
Like, honestly.
I don't have one.
I do though.
That was the joke.
Well, thank you for the coming right up one dick joke.
Finally.
And it turns out the round table was actually just a great big setup for to send Louie on the quest for the magic vibrator.
A vibrator.
That was just going to really just help him.
Yeah. I wonder, are there heterosexual dildos available, right? Because he went in, he's like, I don't want a silver one, and I'm sure,
There
from
have
my
to
like,
be.
yeah, they're like, there's pink and glittery ones, there's glass ones, but like, what about a nice manly one?
But I feel like
For
men
a
still
straight
use
guy.
it for, okay, so
I was gonna say, I think
yeah,
the right
it is what it
question
is.
Are there heterosexual
heterosexual one.
vibrators for the
Like for that
penis?
specific
Yeah,
market.
like your favorite
Is that
sports
what he
team's
meant?
logo
Like
or
that
something.
he rubs it on.
Sports team.
Also,
smells
why-
like cedar.
Stick it up
Why
the
is,
other.
why is the
Citrus, Old
silver
Spice.
one not good enough for him? Because I feel like the silver one wouldn't be appealing to a female. It would be
too
more
shiny.
appealing to a male, but
That's a good
Well,
point.
maybe that's
Louis was
just-
out of his
Chrome.
element.
That's just it. I think he probably felt that was like jewelry, and he's
Yes.
not looking for something jewelry. He's
yeah.
probably
Says
looking for
the
something
one
in a
guy.
warmer, neutral tone.
You have to think a neutral tone.
earth
Yeah.
tone.
Like beige.
Yeah.
Like a beige.
Forest green, maybe.
One that seems like
Something
you
in
don't.
camo.
Yeah, that you don't care.
Genius.
But then where did it go? Then it disappeared.
But you never answered it.
We need to make some camo dildos.
It's on the couch. It like
vibrators
blends in
right
between
now.
the cushions.
I love it.
Yeah, so I think that's just it. Is he wants to find something that fits his lifestyle and his image of
vibe.
himself,
Yeah.
his vibe. He ends up at this sex shop, and just throws out his back. I mean, like not even. I don't even think he was doing anything. Right?
He was
Was he
pointing.
pointing? And,
And
that's
then
when
it's
he
like, "Ugh."
twitched.
Oh god. Yeah.
Okay. So again,
Very awkward.
Underscoring this idea that he's being progressive and he's kind of taking charge of his body and doing something pleasurable, and it ends up landing him in the doctor's office
Age.
or the curb
On the
anyway.
way, yeah, I was gonna say on the way to the
Yeah.
doctor's office, I loved the moment where the old woman
Old woman's helping.
grabs him
Beautiful.
a cab, pulls him off the ground,
Yes.
puts him in the cab, shuts the door. I mean, what an ironic situation. The old
Totally.
lady is picking
Because
up the big man
you're
off the
supposed to
ground.
help the old lady cross
Exactly.
the street with her groceries, and she's like, "Sir, do you need help?"
Yeah.
And she's
And she really
With her little
pulled him up.
bonnet.
yeah.
She got him up. She left her
She put some
basket,
napkin to it, yeah.
stopped the car, got him, pulled him up, threw him
really
in,
helped him.
closed the door behind him.
Yeah, and
It's not
Yeah.
emasculating at all.
That's no, as you're right outside the sex shop that you couldn't even complete the transaction in front of. One of the things I love about this show is not only does he milk all of his cameos and put people in great. There's a great one, Jerry Seinfeld in the next one, but Charles Grodin in this one. But he also then populates it with good character actors, just people that maybe just have one scene, and because it's New York, you can really just go nuts and on the weirdo meter. And in this case, to have Super Granny come to the rescue and get him in a cab is just such a nice detail, because she's in it for 3 minutes, but we're going to be talking about her, and we talk about the naked woman from the first season, and it's just so nice to have. Because sometimes those can just be kind of throwaway things. We'll focus on the celebrities and, oh, they're in here and they do this cool thing, and then everybody else is like, whatever. No, I think, he gives as much care into the writing and photographing of the up-and-coming actors as in addition to the celebrities that come on there.
It was great. And let the whole scene breathe. Yeah. And that's what's nice about the little vignettes in Louie. So.
Yeah. He and then he ends up in the doctor's office with. Did you all notice the nurse when he goes into the she sticks out her hand. She wants a tip from him.
Oh, a tip?
That's a tip. That's a tip hand.
I thought she was like just pretending to help and was like, nah.
No. Because she went and interrupted the doctor's meal as a favor to him.
I see.
And so then she was kind of
So
like,
New
and he
York.
just walks by, and she's like,
Gotta
of course
rewatch
I don't
that.
get a tip. Yeah. Pretty sure that's what it was. I mean, that's what I would do
She's
if
a
I was
hustler.
her. Yeah,
She's
if I
a
was her,
hustler.
I would be like,
With a vibrator under the desk.
that's right.
I help you.
That
you
was
help me.
hilarious.
That saved the day. Yeah. And then Charles Grodin's lovely monologue about the clothesline and the flagpole. This idea that, again, the doctor that literally knows nothing, which is, I feel like, almost kind of like a NBC specialty, because on 30 Rock we had Dr. Spaceman.
Yeah.
They have Hannibal, of course, who's not following any code of ethics. And now we have Charles Grodin as the doctor who's, spreading this misinformation about the spine, and or at least this kind of just out there belief that we should be on all fours.
I do have back problems, and I almost got on all
You
fours
did it
in my
just to
apartment.
see?
Just like, I wonder if
do feel better.
and I do yoga, and cat-cow, it does feel better, but laying down I can't do. But I was like, oh, is that why my back hurts? No, it's not why your back hurts. Like, why are you buying into this doctor?
20,000 more years.
20,000 more years and you'll be fine, Shannon.
You're ahead
Oh,
of your
wait.
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wait.
think. And then finally, gives her the vibrator. Then he gets home and he has his own. And then that final over the closing credits, which is this idea, what happens when you die? Again, another kind of obsession with Louie, which is this, the decay of the flesh, the decay of the body. Everything is temporary. One day we are all gone. Dust in the wind. Gone forever. Lots of stuff happens when you're gone, but once you're dead. But you're not a part of it, which is a great.
Oh, I missed out. Oh, I'll have to die again.
You got to do it.
Take
Do it all
notes
over again.
the next time I die.
Let's do reincarnation all over again. So that's the first episode.
Yeah.
Hey, check us out on iTunes if you can. We've got now we're going to be consistent about it and have a whole season of Louie podcast. And if you didn't know, our AfterBuzz founders, Maria and Kevin, who work so hard to build pretty much everything here from the ground up, they're on Chasing Maria Menounos on Oxygen, and that's Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock. And it really is, some of us were in it. For the pool party action scenes, but it's really and Maria's so lovely. What you see is what you get with her. So it's definitely a cool little slice of behind the scenes of a Hollywood.
Lots
couple.
of AfterBuzz behind the scenes.
Lots
so
of-
Yes.
cool to see what goes on behind the camera.
Behind the behind the back. And anyway, behind the back we have the model episode, which is our second episode, and this one now is kind of. I almost feel because Louis C.K. he writes, directs, and now he's back to editing
is
this
he?
season.
Okay.
Yeah, Susan
Wow.
Morse, Woody Allen's editor, was helping him last season. Now he's back to cutting the episodes, or maybe they'll switch off. But he cut the first 2 episodes, and I don't know. It's so funny because I feel like he's just like. He's like showing off. He's doing like Harlem Globetrotters movies. He's like, okay, I can do little vignettes, and I can do like one long thread.
What do you want from me?
What do you want? I
Hollywood.
can do it all.
I love
and
it.
so
Point, Louie.
Yeah, game, set, match, Louie. He starts off, he's down at the Comedy Cellar, and he asks, and what it has to be, just once again, just a small scene, the waitress that plays Jamie gives him just let's not do this. Just stop. Stop. Don't make me say no. I hate to say no. I'm not.
It's so awkward.
It's just so awkward. And then breaking off the handle, the other waitress is like, you got to stop asking everyone. We get tired of saying no. Don't you think people get tired? He throws it back on him. It's like, don't you think
I love it.
girls get tired of saying no? It's like it's his fault.
That's great. Somebody's got to use that this week. Just reverse psychology, back those guys.
Well, I have to say, as a man, I think it's okay. I think the world would be a better place if women were. I'm also a bartender, so quite often I will just see especially younger girls that don't know how to kind of be assertive. They think that they have to sit there and listen to the guys, his whole spiel and the
Tell me
drinks
more,
and
'cause
the.
I need to know this.
It just seriously, I think if you just thank you for the drink, I'm not interested, or this isn't going to happen, or be funny about it. I have literally seen guys get indignant. I had my girlfriend at the time was there. This guy comes up to her, buys her a drink, talking for a while, and then she says, after about 5 or 10 minutes, says, "Oh well, that's my boyfriend, the bartender," and he was like, "Oh well, I think you should have told me that before I bought you the drink."
He just flat out admitted it.
He wanted
About your drink.
the $5 back. It was like. And meanwhile, as the bartender, I'm like,
she could have got her drink for free anyway.
Exactly. Well, no. She was under specific orders at the time. I was like, I need you to get drinks from each and every one of these. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I need you to roll about 3 drinks from each one of these dudes. If you could do that, that'd be great, babe. No, but it's. I think the world would be a better place if just people were just that assertive and where you stand
Just
and there's
honest.
just honest and.
But hey, you can't get hurt. Can't go home and cry and say this girl was really mean to me.
Well, yeah.
Just leave me alone. And now I'm
I
sad.
wish boys would think that nicely.
they
I think,
don't?
yeah,
That's
no,
just
they
me.
say
They say
sometimes they
worse.
say far worse when they walk away, and it's just like, come on, man.
yes,
Like
they
you
do
don't
say
think it's
far
you?
worse.
You don't think maybe it's not her? It's
Yeah.
you. You got anyway. Then a nice little cameo. Of course, they're friends in real life because they came up together. Jerry Seinfeld. And just this kind of quick, we set the scene for the rest of the episode where you're just like, I need you tomorrow in the East Hamptons, 5 o'clock, a few minutes, can you do it? And Louis is just kind of plodding along, being like, yeah, I can, just, again, that constant kind of unsureness. And then he gets on the Hampton Jitney, and he goes out and he's working on his clean
Chickens
Chickens
are
done.
done.
Chickens
are
are dumb.
Yeah.
I also like how Jerry really drove home no dirty jokes, no dirty vagina dirt
Sex.
jokes.
Yeah.
Dog.
None of that.
Poop, dog.
You had him let him know the range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all the things that are dirty.
And the poop. none of that. And he's just like, yeah, I think I can do that. And then of course he can't because he's like, chickens are dumb.
His face when he gets out of the cab, though, is priceless. I've been in situations like that where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I'm at this type of event tonight, and I'm wearing my Chuck Taylors.
That's the worst.
You know? And he's like tucking in his shirt, get a little nervous. Yeah.
I also loved that this episode had like French elevator music playing like throughout the whole, almost the whole time.
Yeah.
It felt silly.
Ambiance.
It felt so silly to me.
It felt, yeah. I mean, he's often said that Woody Allen is one of his favorites, and Woody Allen has these kind of dreamlike sequences. The episode felt very cinematic, felt very alluded to. A lot of European films,
episode.
And that scene. It starts with him coming out of the cab. Face on him, oh shit, and then turns to see what he sees.
Bugattis,
Maseratis, Porsche.
At a castle.
Everyone's in gowns.
He keeps getting pushed aside.
That was great.
Yeah, by like the bodyguards or whoever.
Face.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be.
You have a T-shirt on, sir.
Yeah.
Speaking of his T-shirt, is he sponsored by Fruit of the Loom or what?
He should be.
He
the tagless. He never has a tag. It's a tagless Fruit of the Loom.
He needs his own line of black T-shirts. I bet they would totally sell.
That's genius.
Like
they're just a little dirty and kind of wrinkly.
10% cut to Shannon.
They come that way.
They come like acid like distress.
They could call it the Louie collection.
Yeah.
Right? With like slight
Guys, we're making things right now. The Louie collection, camo dildos. We're gonna have
a whole line. We're gonna open up our own little Louie shop. His T-shirt in the first Louie's corner. In the first scene of when he's asked Jamie out back at the comedy club, he's wearing his Awesome Possum shirt. Which have you ever heard him do the? He did that in one of his specials, the Awesome Possum, where basically he walks up to a guy at a coffee shop who has the Awesome Possum shirt. And walks up to him and he's just like, "Hey man, great shirt," and the guy just kind of like blows him off, and he's just like, and he gets all indignant, and then he realizes he wasn't wearing the Awesome Possum shirt. In his mind, he thought he was. So now he's just some random guy that's walking up to another guy, being like, "Hey, I really like your shirt," and it's the Awesome Possum shirt that he wore in the beginning of this episode.
Nice.
So
little Easter egg.
He goes on stage and first of all, he's not properly dressed, right?
No. And his pants are like that if you pulled up his shirt, you would have seen butt crack. Yep. Like even standing up straight, you would have seen his butt crack. So I'm thinking like, can he even tuck his shirt into his pants that low?
Well, I love that he came out to the Hamptons. But he didn't come out with anything. He didn't come out with like a comb. He didn't come out with a bag. He didn't come out like a change, like nothing. He literally just got on the bus and then was going to, I guess, do his set and then maybe get back on the bus and go home. I mean, like, I don't know what the plan was, but...
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was there to hang out and rub shoulders, rub elbows.
No, with the famous people that he couldn't quite place.
Right,
the trillionaires.
Yes, there's trillionaires?
The trillionaires of
There's
the Hamptons.
trillionaires
How
now.
do you not know these people?
Yeah.
Everyone knows a trillionaire.
Or two, or a trillion. So then he bombs on stage, right, and goes to the old default. Now, as stand-up comedians or as someone who's been to any type of show, you recognize that. You know when some comedians get painted into a corner, and so they go to the offensive button as a kind of default. It's like, well, I'm going down in flames. Let me
tell
just
a dick joke.
Yes,
It's a callback. I had to do
exactly.
it.
There you
yes,
go.
that guy.
When in doubt. I love too that Jerry would not tell him what the benefit was. Like refused to tell him.
He asked like 3 times. I would have been so annoyed. So annoyed.
And it was right there the whole time too, like on the little wood.
Right,
stand
like you
thing,
couldn't
too.
look at it like
just kind of,
look at a program or something.
Yeah, how do you not walk out and say, "Here, we're here to benefit the AIDS Foundation or whatever"?
Wasn't it blood disease or something?
Heart disease.
Heart disease.
The heart.
It's an
global
alliance of heart diseases.
Blood disease was the doctor. He
right.
wanted Louie to come back with a blood
I
disease.
I remember blood disease.
It was planted in my head.
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
From this episode.
Diseases, again, the disease of the body, the decaying of the body. He bombs. We hear there's laughter in the audience. There is somebody, we presume, I assumed anyway, to be drunk or some sort of like, and then they get him out of there. And then Jerry proceeds to just destroy him in the first minute of his own set and just really make it funny. And then what's funny about that is, Jerry Seinfeld did a documentary called Comedian right after Seinfeld ended, where he was trying to get back in the arena, and he bombs. Like, you want to talk about bombing? He bombs in the movie. So I think that was a nice little callback to that era of Jerry. So it's like, then for him to get on this show and be like, look at this guy bombing, isn't he terrible? I think it's a nice little like wink, wink. Like, it all happens. Everything is circular. What goes around comes around.
Yeah. Everybody's got a good bomb story. Yeah.
And some not so good ones.
Right.
Just the bomb stories.
Jerry was such a dick to him. Like the whole episode.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah, I love that this is, once again, this is kind of from his mind and kind of, so it's kind of his, twisted world. Maybe it's his way, kind of, subconsciously, the I don't know, like jealousy or subconscious would be like, man, you're the man. I wish I was you. Screw you. The shaking of the fist. And then we get introduced to one of the great guest appearances, Yvonne. Does anybody know how to say her name? Strahowski?
That sounds good.
Strahowski, Australian actress who had a heck of a night last night because she was also on 24. She's in the new, yeah, she's a very big part. I actually just watched it this afternoon. Plays a very big part in the new 24. So she had two big premieres last night. She's the girl from Chuck. Which I have a good friend who's in love with that show. So he was very excited when she's going to be on there. And she proceeds, now this is, once again, this is where we get into cuckoo land, because she proceeds to basically seduce him to go and,
Louie napped him.
Louie napped him.
Get my Maserati and we're out of here. I love that he doesn't ask, where are we going? He just gets in a car.
Well, he tries to even ask her name, and she's just like, I like your hair. Yeah. Look at his hair, like you're not... Yeah, so he's trying to, and it's one of those funny situations where I was cringing when they get back to her house, and then by the way, they run into the ocean,
which I want to do so badly. Like, how beautiful did that look?
I just loved watching Louie run.
Oh my God, yes,
so pathetic. Poor guy.
Yeah,
he
trying
was
to keep
struggling.
up. Yeah.
And he doesn't run in. Like, how many guys would get to the beach and this gorgeous model, right, runs out half naked, and he's like, I'm gonna hang on the beach, just like right here.
He tries to stop her. He actually says, he's like,
don't get naked and wet and come back cold.
Yeah, don't do that.
That would be bad.
Because he's a nervous dad. He's not like a man that has flings anymore.
Yeah. He's like, this could be my daughter one day.
Yeah, and he's just a nervous dude in general. I mean, he doesn't like to be tickled. He's very much like personal space, and I could see that when she was running out to the ocean.
So it was almost like a parental concern.
That's how I saw it. I mean, I mean, I don't know her age as this character in this episode, but I felt like he was confused for multiple reasons about her wanting to hook up with him. A, because he probably didn't think he was on her level, but also maybe it was because he seemed older than her, and it was sort of this weird generational gap. Sure. And she was batshit crazy.
She never fully articulated like what it was. It was just, but she was just like, you just make me laugh. That's good enough. And once again, this is like a comedian's fantasy where it's like, it's the laughter is enough. Two interesting things about this scene. One is they filmed it, I guess, in September or October. So she talks about how she was freezing.
Yes, freezing.
And she actually hates the water. She's afraid of it, even though she's Australian. So she was kind of talking about it with an interview with Vulture. And then actually, this apparently happened to Louie, because not all of the details are, but he when he was first starting out, he did a benefit on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. He was wearing the wrong clothes. He bombed, but some lady was super into him, some like rich socialite that was like, come back with me. They go back to their place, and she was the daughter of an astronaut.
Did he punch her in the face?
No, that part is that's
Is he still making those payments?
He's making the payments, right? I can't believe they.
That's why his show came back.
That's why he has to do it. That's why.
He donates the Emmy towards the payments.
Melt it down.
How much is this worth? Yeah, he goes into the pawn shop. How much can I get for this? I've got 4 of them. So he takes her. She's just so aggressive, and he just kind of plods along. And actually, he slips. He falls on his ass when they go inside.
Was that real, or was that part of the show? Like, could you know how Louie? Did he mean to fall? I kind of think it'd be funnier in my head if he actually fell.
If he actually fell with the wet tile.
Yeah.
It was probably scripted. I love that he was still trying to wrestle her into his coat while they were making out, and she finally was like, she takes his hands, puts him on her butt, and he's like, okay, I'll give in.
Okay.
This is happening.
All right. Yeah.
Now we can do it.
Yes. And they do. And you all
kept his
pointed out that he
shirt
kept
on.
his shirt on. I hadn't noticed that detail. And then you
loved
said
that.
it. Yeah.
I bet he kept his socks on too.
He seems like
Poor
a
Louie.
sock
He seems
wearer.
like a guy that would keep his socks and shirt on.
Just pull my pants down to my knees.
Yeah.
Okay, now put them back up.
Don't look.
Don't look. Turn the lights off.
Yeah. The turning the lights off is another classic. Like, no. Here. Don't. It'll be better like this. Turn the lights off.
Keep your eyes closed too.
So then the tickling thing. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of a don't tickle me. Don't. That's
He's just kind of a nervous dude with his own like
body.
weird ticks.
Yeah. And then she tickles him, and he just and then just perfectly, really well choreographed. We don't need to see it. We just need to see him just like, just jerk.
The noise.
Yeah.
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 Paralyzed pupils
does
are
that
something I
happen?
never thought existed.
Like a detached
I'm gonna
retina.
Google that. Actually.
Violently ticklish, I thought was also a nice one. Yeah. How was she to know that you were violently ticklish?
I love it.
Victor Garber plays the lawyer that Jerry actually gets him. So he calls Jerry from the hospital, trying to get in a scene, reminiscent of
great.
like Michael Clayton, where it's like, I need you to come fix this. And Jerry Seinfeld is like, why in the world would I go anywhere near this situation?
Yeah.
At this point, but you imagine that moment as Louis was bombing on stage earlier in the show, Jerry's thinking to himself, just like, why did I have to run into Louis C.K. at the Comedy Cellar? Why couldn't it have been anyone but Louis? Anyone.
And he could put the security guard up there.
Would have been
Would have
better.
been better.
And more appropriate for the jacket.
Yes. Would have worn it quite well.
At least he had the pants to match.
This is true.
Yeah, he had better pants than Louis' jeans.
Yeah, Louis just looked a mess.
Haggard.
Louis.
Victor Garber, I don't know if you know about him. He's kind of this. He comes from a very old Canadian school that's like back at like ground zero for a lot of comedy. He was in a production of Godspell in Toronto with Gilda Radner and Eugene Levy and Martin Short. It
Old
was like
school.
all of the original crew right before they all got plucked to go to Saturday Night Live. And I guess Victor Garber is kind of the song and dance man, so he wasn't so much like a comedian. Of course, he went on to be in Titanic and Alias and all these other kind of. Every time you see him, you're like, oh, that guy.
That's what I did when I watched it. I was
We
like, what
did
is it?
that.
What is it?
Yeah.
Titanic, is it?
Yeah, yeah, he's the designer of the architect or the creator.
Yeah.
Amazing. She's made of ship and
She's made. The ship is
mustard.
made of ship. And
The ship is made of ship and steel and mustard. She can sink, I can assure you.
Don't tell anyone.
And then they agree to just do this this weird payment. And then so Louis now owes these people money for life, but he ends up telling the story to the waitress. So here's my question as we take it home. Did this actually happen? Is this a dream? Is it a story that Louis is using to get in the waitress's pants? What do we think?
That's a great question.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Because I feel like, it's come full circle. He's, telling the story, which, by the way, I mean, I'm sure he would have to, when you're walking around with the thing on your face.
That's full commitment to a story.
Everyone's going to ask, like, what
What's wrong?
happened?
Yeah.
What happened? So is it...
So what really caused the nose break? I didn't think about that. Like maybe the
Oh, I thought you were gonna
benefit
tell us.
happened. Oh no, I'm
like,
thinking
yes,
like
Ellie knows.
Here's what happened.
I talked with Louis before the show.
Okay, what did he say?
No, I'm thinking like, what if the benefit really happened, but the minute he walked out the doors is when it became fantasy and not reality? So maybe like someone did punch him in the nose, but the way he's gonna tell the story is a little sexier. Maybe actually,
Yeah.
it's not sexy hurting a woman, but like that he had this like romantic on the beach hookup with a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, I accidentally hit her and her dad punched me. And, when maybe in
astronaut dad.
reality it was like, the usher who he had his jacket.
Right, like, give me my
Was
jacket.
roughing him up.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, that's mine. I get charged for that. And I actually thought that. I thought that when he got in the car and drove away. I was like,
Poor
that
guy's
poor
jacket.
security guard is now going to have to pay
Yeah.
for his own jacket.
Right? What if his phone was in there?
Yeah.
You never know.
Keys.
Chapstick.
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 Where are you going to find chapstick?
I would
In
be
East
obsessed
Hampton?
with
Hamptons.
chapstick.
At that hour?
There's no Walgreens near that castle.
And they probably have people who put chapstick on them for them.
They probably
They're
use
slaves,
people
then.
as chapstick.
Yes.
They just
Come.
take other humans.
Let me rub my lips upon your greasy head.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep talking like that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, so just great, a great start to the season. just a little bit of everything. You know, short, tiny vignettes, short, tiny scenes, and then long, overarching storylines that highlight his particular obsessions. What is your absolute favorite thing about this show? What is it that has you tuning in? Like, why are you here instead of the I don't know, some other sitcoms podcast?
This is one of the few shows that literally, when I'm watching it by myself, makes me laugh out loud. Not many. I can't think of a show right now. But 30 Rock used to do that to me.
Right.
But that's gone now. So.
Yeah.
Now I have Louie.
WGN reruns.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you
And
go.
Comedy Central. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. You know, sometimes you see, and even the well-made shows, you think like, okay, I see that, you know, set up, punchline, that was cool. But you're right, you don't necessarily laugh, especially if you're around it and you're a writer yourself, or you're like, okay, I see that. Oh, I would have done this differently. I said, you know, you sit there and watch the construction of it all. You're looking for the seams.
Right.
And
he just executes it so well. It's so much of his own voice going into it. I think that's what I'm most attracted to, is because I act, film, edit pretty much evenly across the board. And I just have so much respect for someone that can write their own material, make it this good. He sits there and edits it and just has his own, you know, his team of people that are going to be like, yeah, this is what you need to do. And, you know, I aspire to have that when I'm older. Not to call,
when you grow up.
I was trying to call him old in my head, but when I'm more mature in my career, you know, I just want that type of situation to go on. And I really respect someone of his caliber that's able to do that and do it successfully, is respected commercially and within his industry amongst his peers. You know, it's hard to be that fine line of, you know, commercial success and success within, you know, other hardcore comedians and stuff like that. It's a rough industry. It's a rough.
Well, he's been plugging away for such a long time, and even his own, you know, his writings. This is his third show, you know, across 3 different networks now. His own, you know, his movie that he actually just finally released on his website. He's at the peak of his powers, and you know, he's on the cover of GQ magazine right now. They call him the funniest man on earth, which, you know, some other comedians might have something to say about that. But he's definitely, you know, he's firing on all cylinders, and he's kind of really doing it nicely. Carrie, what's your favorite thing about the show?
I agree with everything that's been said, and for me, from a comedian standpoint, the fact that, you know, people always think you're funny and you're always on, and they forget that, like, you're just as real in life. Sometimes you, like, it sucks. Like, and I love that Louie allows himself to show how vulnerable he is when he's not, you know, and then just showing everyone's always like, hey, comedian, and it's like sometimes you just want to be, and I love that he shows that side. He shows the struggle, but it's still very funny, and he's so awkward, and I love awkwardness. Every moment is so beautifully awkward, so really looking forward to the season. So glad it's back.
For sure. Yeah, and we'll be here we'll be recording this every Tuesday night, but of course Louie's every Monday night on FX. Any plugs, Twitter handles, follow?
Sure, let's be friends. Check me out at Comedia Carrie. That's COMEDIA CARRIE, Comedia Carrie.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Kylie Hodges.
I'd say my Instagram is bigger than my Twitter. It's Shannon Joy Rodgers with the D, RODGERS.
And I'm Mario Hernandez. You can follow me at Cinemario. That's CINE Mario. And thanks so much. We'll be back next week to talk about the next 2 episodes of Louie, Season 4.
Adios.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.